Hello, everyone. It is December 29th, 2025, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and had a great time with friends and or family. So it's so good to see you here today. So we have a lot to talk about today at the Oklahoma Counseling Institute. So first of all, a couple of stories here that I want to bring up is the Oklahoma Voice is reporting that the funds for the 988 mental health tip line helpline is going to run out in September of 2026. And so they're reporting that lawmakers are putting on their agenda to find ways to be able to fund the 988 mental health line. So it was funded large part by federal funds, and those federal funds are drying up. And so now the state is having to use more of its funds to keep the 988 helpline going. So it sounds like from the article that there is a lot of interest among the Oklahoma legislature to keep the helpline running. And hopefully they'll be able to get together this legislative session and to be able to pass a bill that will keep it funded. So the next legislative session starts February 2nd, 2026. And between now and then, there will be a bunch of bills that will be planned to be introduced in the next session. And so I want to say the last session, there was over 1,000 bills that were planned to be introduced during last session. And of course, a lot of those don't make it to committee. And then if they make it to committee, they don't make it past committee. And then, so the vast majority of those did not make it to be voted on and pass. But at any rate, there are a lot of bills that are proposed. But this is one funding the 988 support line will be, it sounds like, a top agenda for mental health for Oklahoma legislature. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. Another thing I found interesting, so just looking on the internet, so Pennsylvania has a county, Allegheny County, that is implementing involuntary outpatient mental health services. And so they are calling it assisted outpatient treatment. And it will, a person that another person wants to recommend for assistive outpatient treatment will have to bring it in front of a judge, and a judge will have to decide if involuntary outpatient mental health treatment will be required of this person. And according to this article, and again, these are posted on our Facebook page, so you'll find this in the Facebook feed, but there is not any consequences if the person chooses to not follow their treatment plan. So they're saying that right now it just seems to be a law that has no real teeth to it. And they don't really know how they would make sure that people are following this law. But the thing that I found interesting in just reading over the article, they're talking about there's this real push for mandated treatment going back to when President Trump signed the executive order that, according to this article, signed the executive order in July that aims to institutionalize unhoused people who have mental illnesses, substance use disorders, or both. So they're saying that what this county is doing is just going along with that general trend to mandate mental health care. So I'd be really curious to know what other people, mental health therapists, think about that. Think that if that's something that's needed, if that's something that would even be helpful to mandate mental health care. I know whenever it is involuntary inpatient commitment, we're doing that because a person is a danger to themselves or other people. But to mandate outpatient care, I wonder what people think about that. I think people who are familiar with our drug courts, that's a way of mandating outpatient mental health treatment is drug courts. Um, Even then, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but even then, I think they're given a choice on if they want to do the drug court and participate that. It may not be much of a choice because if they choose not to, maybe it's going straight to prison. I don't know. So correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. But at any rate, there's at least some type of choice on if they're going to participate in the program or not. Um, but as far as just what's called here assisted outpatient treatment, mandating outpatient mental health care, uh, and making it not really a choice. Be curious to know what your thoughts are about that. The next thing I found that I thought was interesting was New York State. The governor signed I think it was 3 days ago, signed where mental health, or excuse me, social media platforms are required to display warning labels to underage users. And so these would pop up in the feed on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. This warning label, um, warning that these social media platforms can become addictive and can be detrimental to one's mental health. And so, according to this article that's out of the ABC affiliate in New York, that New York joins California and Minnesota, which have similar social media laws. So, I'm wondering, do you think that that's something that we need to have here in Oklahoma? I'd be curious to know your thoughts about that. If having a warning label for our kiddos to be able to see when they're on social media, if that would be helpful for them or not. But love to know your thoughts. Last thing that I have here today is Texas A&M researchers using virtual reality to reduce anxiety about death. And so in this article, again, these are all in our Facebook feeds and also posted on LinkedIn if you follow us on LinkedIn, where Texas A&M researchers took a person who had death anxiety and ran a brief virtual reality simulation for them of a near-death experience. And so what it did was it showed 3 stages, virtual scenes. First scene was a out of body sensation where their quote spirit unquote rising from their body after a car accident, then them traveling through a channel of light while experiencing memory flashbacks. Finally, they arrive at a scenic, peaceful landscape with a barrier they could not cross. And according to their research, it helped to reduce death anxiety significantly. I want to say I saw in here, I want to say it was 75% that it reduced death anxiety. Yes, here we go. The pilot study was with 60 participants, so pretty small sample size, but they reported 75% decrease in their fear of death after a single 12-minute session. So what do you think? Would this be a good tool to have in our toolbox for people that have death anxiety? And what type of ethical considerations does this bring up? So my first thought is, asking somebody what are their views on death. And so if they are, maybe atheist or something like that, and they say, hey, it's like falling asleep, there's blackness, there's nothing. Well, then would something like this be helpful for them and would be in alignment with their values of what they perceive the afterlife or absence of afterlife being? So personal opinion, I don't think so. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so instead, if it's somebody that, well, it's just black after that, well, then having a virtual experience that basically is black, I guess it'd be close your eyes and that's what it's like. Maybe you don't have to get all the virtual gear. I don't know. But anyway, but have something more in line with their experience of what they perceive the afterlife to be. If they perceive it being something like this, and obviously that goes along with their belief system, if they believe something different, like they're going to, meet their deity, their God, something like that, then maybe the simulation might need to be a little different in order to meet that. So really interesting to see that this follows that making sure that the person's values of what their beliefs about what the afterlife is like is in alignment with the simulation that they're going to be experiencing. Uh, I think the other thing that's curious, not that I have dealt with this a whole lot in my experience. I'm sure that there's people out there that have dealt with it more than I, but to be able to kind of dig in a little bit when people have death anxiety, and it may not necessarily be the afterlife experience or the lack of an afterlife that they're so afraid of. It may be more the process that dying is going to be very painful and what that's going to be like. So for someone like that, where it's more the process of dying as opposed to the afterlife itself is anxiety provoking, then I wonder how this these researchers would say to tweak that. Like, I wonder what would be a little bit different with that, and if virtual reality would even be something to use in that particular situation. So it could be a useful tool. We'll just have to see, but it's really interesting research, nonetheless. So we have coming up, here's our Facebook page here. So we have coming up, and here's all the news that we just talked about, so you can go back and read those yourself. But if you check out our event page, then you will see that we have coming out up our Whimsical Wednesday. And so this is going to be on January 7th. So it's just right around the corner. And it is going to be at it is going to be at, here we go, A Good for a Few in Oklahoma City. And so that's at 1705 Northwest 16th Street in Oklahoma City. At Good for a Few. I don't know if you've ever been at Good for a Few. I've never been at Good for a Few, but that's one of the things that I love about Whimsical Wednesdays is that we find someplace that's really unique and different to go meet up with our fellow mental health professionals and just to network and talk in this a really relaxed manner. Last time we went to Sound Bar, and so that was really neat experience with a bunch of vinyl records around, and it was really, really a cool place. And so if you are in that rut that I am in myself, of where you go to work, you go home, you watch your shows, you get up, you go to work, you go home, you watch your shows and repeat, and don't get out very much. Well, this is a good way to be able to get out once a month, meet up with your colleagues, make some new connections, and be able to go to someplace different. So we would love to see you on January 7th at 6 p.m. at Good for a Few in Oklahoma City for Whimsical Wednesday. Also, when you look at our other events at the Counseling Institute, there's not a whole lot there right now because we just got finished doing a couple of weeks ago our winter webinar weekend. So right now, Haley is doing a whole lot of video editing and getting those up. So those will be up soon. A lot of them are up already. If you are Oklahoma LMFT or Oklahoma LCSW and you need your continuing education before the end of the year, then certainly check out everything that we have to offer. We have so many on-demand courses that are available, and all these are approved by the Oklahoma Board of Behavioral Health and Oklahoma Board of Social Work, Oklahoma Board of Licensed Alcohol and Drug Counselors, all the boards. So all the boards have approved these continuing education courses, and we're also NBCC provider. So if you have a friend or colleague that is from another state, or if you have a license from another state, then check with that licensure board to see if NBCC, which stands for National Board of Certified Counselors, if getting continuing education from one of their providers, which we're an NBCC provider, if that counts for their continuing education. And for a lot of other state boards, they do. And so certainly if you have another license or a friend or colleague from a different state, then send them our way and have them check out our courses. So a couple of things here at Edmond Counseling Professional Development. So of course we have Smart Recovery, which is an alternative to AA. And so you can get information about Smart Recovery here at the web address up here, or you can go to smartedmond.com. And so we did not meet last week because it was Christmas, but we will meet this week. So this coming Thursday, which will be on New Year's Day, we will meet uh, for the Smart Recovery meeting. So you can find all the information here on our website. Also, we have our friends and family meeting. So these are for obviously uh, friends and family meeting, or actually it's family and friends, but for family and friends who have someone who is dealing with addiction, for them to be able to get support and earn evidence-based strategies on how they can support their loved one while also caring for themselves. So that is led by Sarah Mears Ivy, and we're really appreciative to her for leading that group. So you can find out more about that group here on our website. And then also we have our pain management, chronic pain support group that is free as well. And so again, you can check on our website here, edmondcounseling.com/pain to learn more about that group. And our last, we are starting a relationship loss and divorce support group. This will be starting the third week of January. So it's coming up here pretty soon. And this is going to be led by Sarah McFadden. And so this is another free support group. So we have 4 free support groups going on right now. Nothing you need to do for you, your client, your family member, but just show up to the meeting. So there's no intake process or anything like that. They are free. Just show up. And if it's a good fit, great, keep coming. If it's not, that's okay too. But this is something that we're just doing for the community to be able to give people the way to connect with others while also receiving support as well. All right. So, in looking at, if you have watched this before, you know that we ask um, a a question of the week, and then also the people that answer the question, that put in the comments or that like or share this post, whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn or on YouTube, that they're enter into a drawing to win free continuing education. And so this week, our winner is Courtney Lawlin. So, Courtney, congratulations on winning free continuing education. And so, if you will just reach out to us at hello@edmondcounseling.com and let us know that you are this week's winner, and we will get that free continuing education course to you. And so just reach out to us there, hello@edmondcounseling.com, or you can call or text us at 405-440-3034. So again, Courtney Lawlin, congratulations on winning this week's free continuing education. So our question for this week is, being so close to New Year's, what is your New Year's resolution? So do you not do New Year's resolutions anymore? Do you have a New Year resolution this year? What is your New Year's resolution? And so uh, for me, I love it whenever I'm able to start working on things and get in habits before New Year, so that I can say, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing there. So I don't have anything that I am trying to start at New Year's, as much as it's just keep doing. And so one of the things that I've been trying to work on this year is Spanish. So took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and then that's it. And I've always regretted that I have not kept up with Spanish. So I've decided that I'm going to work on Spanish, and that hopefully goal is to at least be able to get around a little bit if I were to travel in Mexico, go visit some relatives that I have that live in Central America, to be able to go visit them and be able to speak Spanish along the way. So that's my goal. And yes, I know with AI and the earbuds that you can put in your ear that actually translates in real time another language as people are talking to you. I don't know if you've heard about that. I do know that that exists. So I still want to learn Spanish anyway, because what if my earbud falls out or something like that? Also, I think it's be good for my brain to try to brush up on Spanish. So that is my New Year's resolution that I've already been working on the past couple of months, but I'm going to keep working on. So would love to hear what your New Year's resolution is, and put it in the comments. And again, if you don't have one, if you have decided not to do that anymore, that is great too. Also, if you put in comments about some of the things that we talked about, those comments will be entered in the drawing as well. So anytime that you comment, like, or share the Monday Lunchtime Digest, this on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, then you'll be entered in to win for free continuing education. So thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting the Oklahoma Counseling Institute. Uh, every time that you tell a colleague about us or take one of our on-demand courses or one of our live in-person courses, which will be starting back up in March, anytime that you do that, then you are supporting our mission of providing quality continuing education for Oklahoma mental health professionals. And we thank you so much for doing that. All right, everyone, have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.